If you use shampoo every day, this may be one of the most important warnings you hear all year. Because shampoo is one of those products people never question. It sits in your shower. It smells clean. It foams fast. It makes your hair feel soft for a few hours. And that is exactly why so many people trust it. But what if that clean feeling is the illusion? What if the bottle you've been using for months is not helping your scalp at all, but slowly pushing it into a cycle of dryness, oiliness, irritation, buildup, and dependence? That is the part nobody talks about. The real danger with many popular shampoos is not just what they promise. It is the gap between the label and the reality. Between the shiny hair you see right after washing and the stressed scalp you keep dealing with later. And once you see that gap clearly, you will never look at the shampoo aisle the same way again. This category matters because shampoo is not something people use once in a while. It is part of your routine. Sometimes daily, sometimes for years. And when a bad product becomes a habit, the damage does not always look dramatic at first. It looks normal. A dry scalp, hair that gets greasy too fast, itching, flakes, buildup. The feeling that something is off but you keep blaming your hair instead of the bottle. And that is exactly why this video matters. Because in this video you will see which shampoo brands raise the biggest red flags, why so many people keep trusting them anyway, and which options are worth considering instead. Stay with me until the end because the safest looking bottle is not always the one that deserves your trust. Pantene Pro V is one of those shampoo brands people trust almost automatically. You see the gold label, sleek bottle, promise of stronger, smoother, shinier hair. And for a lot of people that promise feels believable because Pantene is everywhere. It has been in bathrooms for years. It looks established, familiar, safe. But that is exactly where the problem begins. Because the real danger with Pantene Pro V is not just what it promises. It is the illusion it creates. Hair can feel softer right away. It can look smoother right away. But that immediate payoff can hide a deeper problem of formula experience that makes people confuse surface-level cosmetic results with real long-term scalp and hair health. And once that cycle starts, many people do not realize what is happening. Their hair feels heavy faster. Their scalp feels off. Buildup becomes easier to ignore because the product keeps delivering that short-term polished finish. So instead of asking whether the shampoo is helping, they keep chasing the same effect again and again. That is the broken trust at the center of this brand. It sells the feeling of repair. But for many people, what it really delivers is dependency on the appearance of repair. And if you think that is bad, the next brand takes this same illusion in an even more disturbing direction. Herbal Essences is the kind of shampoo people lower their guard around almost instantly. The name sounds gentle. The branding feels botanical. The colors, the scent, the whole experience is designed to make you think of freshness, softness, and nature. And that is exactly why this brand is so effective at earning trust. Because people do not just buy herbal essences for clean hair. They buy the feeling attached to it. They buy the illusion that a product wrapped in flowers, plants, and sensory pleasure must be closer to something safe, calming, and scalp-friendly.
The orange bottle your mother used, the brand trusted for 50
years,
years, promised salon-quality hair at drugstore prices.
Of label versus reality in the shampoo aisle. A formula can feel luxurious.
Every Pantene bottle contains dimethicone.
It can create that fresh from the shower confidence people love. But none of that proves the product is actually giving your scalp what it needs. In fact, that sensory experience can become the distraction.
Pantene's silicone barrier accelerates hair loss by suffocating follicles. One dermatologist told me it's not repairing your hair, it's embalming
that creeping sense that their scalp never feels fully right anymore. That is what makes
the packaging screams green, clean, and wholesome. It looks like something you'd find at a farmer's market, not a corporate laboratory. Then the lawsuits hit. In 2021, a class action lawsuit accused Herbal Essences, owned by Procter & Gamble, of causing hair loss, scalp burns, and blistering through DMDM hydantoin, a preservative that releases formaldehyde over time. Formaldehyde is classified as a human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. It's the chemical used to preserve corpses in funeral homes, and it's been sitting in your BioRenew formula for years. Court
something more
documents
serious.
revealed that P&G knew
A
about
shampoo
consumer
with a kind of
complaints as
rugged
early as
credibility.
2016,
And once that idea
but
gets into
continued
people's
selling
heads,
the
the
formula
product starts to feel
unchanged.
more
Over
effective before it
200
has even
plaintiffs
touched
reported
their
severe
scalp.
hair thinning, bald
That is
patches,
what
and
makes
chemical
this brand
burns.
so
One woman's
powerful.
scalp blistered so
It does not
badly
just
she needed
sell
medical
results.
treatment for
It
second-degree
sells the
burns.
idea that if
Angela
something has
Martinez,
such an
34,
unusual
from
identity,
Phoenix.
it must work
She
better than
used
ordinary
Herbal
shampoo.
Essences BioRenew for
But
4 months.
that is
Started
where the
noticing
illusion
excessive
becomes
shedding in week
dangerous.
6.
Because
By
being
week
famous,
12, she
being
had a bald
viral,
patch
or
the
being
size of a
surrounded
quarter
by
on her
years of
crown.
word of mouth does not automatically mean a formula is a smart long-term choice for your scalp. And that is the part many people miss. A product can earn a reputation for strength and still leave people chasing the wrong goal. Hair that feels stripped can be mistaken for clean. Hair that feels tougher can be mistaken for healthier. A scalp that feels thrown off can be ignored because the brand already planted the belief that this is what real results are supposed to feel like. That is the trap. Mane and tail does not just benefit from curiosity, it benefits from people mistaking novelty for proof. And the next brand is even more dangerous because it hides behind the image of solving a problem people are desperate to fix. Head & Shoulders may be one of the most trusted shampoo brands in the world, and that is exactly why it deserves a closer look. Because this brand does not just sell cleanliness, it sells relief.
5.
It sells
Mane
control.
and tail. It
It
started
sells
in
the
horse
idea
stables.
that if your scalp
Straight
is
Arrow
flaky,
Products
itchy, or
created mane
embarrassing,
and tail
this is the
for
bottle
show
that will
horses
bring
needing
things back
thick,
under
shiny
control.
coats. Then someone had
And
a
when
billion-dollar
people are
idea.
frustrated with
If it works
dandruff,
on
that
1,200-pound
promise feels
animals,
incredibly
imagine what it'll do
powerful.
for human hair.
But that
The
is
trend
where the emotional
exploded.
trap
Beauty
begins.
influencers
The danger
raved.
with Head &
Women
Shoulders
bought it
is
by
not
the
just that
case.
people
The
use
logic
it.
seemed sound.
It is that
Horses
many
have
people
beautiful
stop
hair,
questioning it
so
once
why
it
not borrow
appears to
their
solve the
secret?
first
Here's the
problem.
problem nobody mentioned.
The scalp
Horse hair
feels
and
cleaner.
human hair aren't the
The
same
flakes
thing.
seem
Not even
reduced.
close. Horse
The
hair is
discomfort
thick,
seems quieter.
coarse, built to
And
survive
because
rolling
that
in
early
dirt
result
and mud,
feels like
designed
proof,
for
people start
outdoor
trusting
elements.
the brand more deeply sometimes, without noticing that their scalp still never feels truly balanced. That is where trust turns into dependence, because once a shampoo earns the role of problem solver, it becomes much harder for people to ask whether it is creating a new cycle underneath the surface. A scalp that feels stripped can be interpreted as purified. A harsh reset can be mistaken for healing. And a person can end up chasing control over symptoms without ever feeling like their scalp is genuinely calm. That is what makes this brand so unsettling. It does not just benefit from insecurity, it builds
Specifically,
authority
their
on top of
keratin
it.
infusion
And the next
and
shampoo hides its
biotin
problems
infusion
behind
lines
something much more
contained
cheerful, bright
DMDM
packaging,
high dentoin
fruity
that
energy,
cause severe hair
and the
loss,
illusion that
scalp
fun
burns,
means
and permanent
safe.
bald patches.
Garnier
Court filings
Fructis is one
revealed
of those
something
shampoos
chilling.
that knows
Internal
exactly
company
how to
documents
disarm
showed
your
Unilever
skepticism.
knew about
The
complaints
bottle
as
looks
early as
energetic.
2017,
The colors
but
feel
continued
bright.
manufacturing
The
and selling the
branding leans
product
into
for
fruit
years.
freshness
4
and that
years.
clean,
They didn't just
youthful
fail to
feeling
warn
people
consumers. They
instinctively
actively
associate with
marketed these
something lighter
formulas
and
as
safer.
strengthening and
It does not
damage
come
repair,
across as
while people's
threatening.
hair
It
fell
comes
out in
across as
clumps.
fun.
In
And that is
2023,
exactly the
Unilever
hidden
agreed to a
danger.
$5
Because
million
Garnier
settlement,
Fructis is
but
a
admitted
perfect
no
example of how
wrongdoing.
packaging
$5
can do
million
half the
sounds
selling
like a
before the
lot
formula
until you
is ever
realize
questioned.
Suave generates over $500 million
People see the
in
word
annual
fructis,
revenue.
they see
It's
the
a rounding
vibrant
error.
design,
Open
and
a
they
bottle of
subconsciously
Suave.
connect it with
The
something
smell
closer
hits
to nature,
sharp, chemical,
closer to
fake
health,
floral
closer
scents
to care.
trying to mask the
But
harsh
that is where
detergent base.
label and
The liquid
reality
is
start
thin,
pulling in two
watery,
different
almost
directions.
translucent.
The real
That's
problem is
because
not
you're
just
getting
the
the
image.
cheapest possible ingredients
what that
stretched
image
as far
allows
as they'll
people
go.
to ignore.
Pour it in your
When a
hand.
shampoo
It runs
feels
through your
playful
fingers
and
like water.
fresh,
Lather it up.
consumers
The
are
foam
less
is
likely
weak,
to stop and
dissipating
ask
quickly. After
whether their
use,
scalp
your hair
actually
feels
feels
stripped,
balanced,
dry, like you
whether
washed
their
it with
hair is
dish
getting
soap,
easier
because you
to manage
essentially did.
naturally,
The sulfate
or whether they are
concentrations in
just being
Suave are
pulled into
comparable
another
to
cycle
household
of
cleaning
temporary
products.
cosmetic payoff. The product can feel lively while the long-term experience feels increasingly off. And because the brand looks so harmless, many people blame themselves before they blame the bottle. That is what makes Garnier Fructis so frustrating. It does not win trust by looking clinical or authoritative. It wins trust by looking harmless. But harmless-looking products can still create very real disappointment. And if you think that is bad, the next brand proves that low expectations can be just as dangerous as false promises. Suave is dangerous for a very different reason than the brands that came before it. It does not rely on a premium image. It does not need a glamorous reputation. It does not have to convince you that it is luxurious or sophisticated. Instead, Suave wins by feeling normal, cheap, convenient, easy to throw into the cart without thinking twice. And that kind of trust can be even more reckless. Because once a product becomes good enough, people stop examining it. They stop asking whether their scalp feels healthier over time. They stop asking whether their hair is actually improving. the shampoo becomes part of the background.
Open it. The
which means
scent
the
is sweet,
disappointment it
almost
creates
syrupy,
also
not
becomes
natural
part of the
botanicals,
background.
but synthetic fragrance designed
More
to smell
dryness,
exotic.
more
The
dullness,
shampoo
more
itself
imbalance.
has an unnatural
More of that quiet
pearlescent
feeling
shimmer,
that your hair
thick
is
and
never quite
creamy
where you
like
want it to
body
be.
lotion. That
But since
texture
the
comes
bottle
from
never
heavy
promised much in the
silicones
first
and
place,
thickening
many
agents
people
that
never
coat your
hold it
hair in
accountable.
layers of buildup.
That is the
After the
hidden
first few
power of a
washes,
brand
your hair feels
like Suave.
incredible, smooth, shiny,
benefits from
manageable.
low
That's the silicone
expectations.
trap.
And low
Week 3,
expectations
you
can
notice
protect a
increased
bad
shedding.
product for
Week
years
6,
because
clumps
consumers
of
are
hair
more
on your
willing to
pillow,
excuse
in the drain,
poor
in your
performance
hands
when the
every
price
time you
feels
touch your
small.
head. Week 8,
They tell
visible
themselves
bald
it is just
patches.
shampoo.
Users described it as watching their hair
themselves they are not
slowly
losing
die in
much.
real time.
They
Samantha
tell themselves
Rodriguez,
the problem
28,
must be
from
their hair.
Austin, paid $12 per
But
bottle
that
because she
logic
wanted
adds up
clean
over time.
ingredients. Used
Because the moment you
OGX
use
biotin
something
and
over and
collagen for
over
4
again
months in
cheap,
2020.
stops
Shoulder
being
length
cheap
hair
if the
when she
long-term
started.
result is
Visible scalp
frustration
by
buildup.
month 4. She
Or a
told
scalp that
reporters,
never
I
feels
bought
fully
OGX because biotin is
That
supposed
is
to
why
help hair
Suave
grow. The
belongs
bottle
on this
promised
list.
repair and
It does
strength.
not trick
Instead,
people with
I
luxury.
went from shoulder-length
It
hair
tricks
to
them into
visible
thinking a
scalp
weak
in
product
4
is
months.
too
The
ordinary to
irony
be
is
dangerous.
sickening. I paid
And the
premium
final
prices
brand
to
may be the
poison
most
myself.
disappointing
For
of
women
all
who
because it
paid
hides
premium
behind a
prices
bottle that
believing they
looks
were buying
far more
clean hair care,
trustworthy than
you
it
funded your
deserves.
own poison.
Bite.
For families who chose
OGX may be the
OGX
most
specifically to
disappointing
protect
brand
their
on this
kids from
list because it
chemicals,
does
the
not
pretty
look
bottles
cheap,
hid the same
careless,
toxins you
or
were trying to
obviously low
avoid.
quality.
For anyone who lost hair,
looks polished.
confidence,
The
and
bottles
thousands
feel
on
more
treatments
premium.
trying to reverse the
The names
damage,
sound
you weren't
more
alone.
specialized.
10,000 people
The branding
testified to the
suggests
same
intention,
nightmare. The
ingredients,
premium
and
bottles,
formulas that
the
seem
natural
more elevated than
promises,
the
the
average
formaldehyde
drugstore shampoo.
reality. OGX
And
is
that is
proof that
exactly
pretty
why so
packaging
many
and
people
clever
trust it
marketing
without
can
much
hide
resistance.
anything. Go check your shower right now.
OGX does
Comment
not
if
ask for
OGX
trust
is
through
sitting there,
simplicity.
you're not alone.
It
If you
asks for
see
trust through
OGX,
presentation.
Suave,
And for a lot
Garnier
of consumers,
Fructis,
that
Head and
presentation
Shoulders,
works.
Mane and Tail,
Because
Herbal
once a
Essences,
shampoo
or
looks more
Pantene,
refined,
don't
people
wait.
start
Don't
assuming it
finish the
must
bottle.
also
Your
be more
scalp isn't
thoughtful,
worth the $7 you
more
haven't
gentle,
used yet.
more effective, more worthy of the price and the shelf space it takes up. But that is where this brand becomes so frustrating. The gap between how trustworthy it looks and how disappointing the experience can feel is what puts it in the final spot on this list. This is not just about a bottle failing to impress. It is about a bottle that signals quality so strongly that people doubt their own experience before they doubt the product. If their scalp feels irritated, if their hair feels heavier than expected, if the results feel strangely off, they often hesitate to blame OGX because the brand has already done such a strong job of looking
Once
credible.
that barrier is gone, your
That
scalp
is
goes
the
into
betrayal.
panic mode, overproducing
A weak
sebum,
shampoo
oil,
is one
to
thing.
compensate.
A
This
shampoo that
excess oil
disguises
traps
weakness
dead skin
behind a
cells,
premium image
creating
is
more
something else
dandruff.
entirely.
So you
And
use
that is
more
why
Head and Shoulders.
OGX
The cycle
lands here.
continues.
Not
Dermatologists
because it
call it
looks suspicious,
rebound flaking.
but because
the
it looks
product designed to
reassuring.
cure dandruff
It borrows
actually
the
creates
visual
chronic
language of better
dandruff that
care, then
requires
leaves too many
continuous
people
use.
with the same
Pour it
confusion,
into your hand.
the same
Notice
frustration,
that bright blue
and
color.
the same cycle
Synthetic
of chasing
dye,
results that
FD,
never
and
feel as
C
good as
blue.
the bottle promised.
Number 1. Linked to allergic
And now that you have
reactions and
seen the
skin
worst of the list
sensitivity
here,
in multiple
are the
European
options that
studies.
deserve
The
a
smell is
closer look
aggressively
instead.
medicinal, masking the sulfate
Now,
harshness
after
with
all of that,
synthetic
here's the
menthol.
part that
Lather
actually
it up.
matters
Your
most,
scalp
what
tingles.
deserves your attention
That's not
instead.
freshness. That's irritation.
The first better
The
option
formula
is
strips
BioTerra.
so aggressively
What
that your
makes
hair feels
BioTerra
squeaky
stand out
clean,
is that it feels
almost
more
sticky.
aligned with what
That
people should
squeaky
have been
feeling,
looking for in
that's
the
your
first
hair
place, a
shaft's
shampoo
cuticle layer being
experience.
damaged.
That seems more
After months of
balanced,
use, your
more
scalp
intentional
becomes
and less
dependent.
dependent on
Stop
flashy
using it for a
promises.
week, and the flakes return worse
It does
than
not
before.
need to overwhelm
Your
you
scalp
with a
forgot how
fantasy.
to regulate
It feels
itself.
more like a
Michael,
product built
52,
around
used
scalp
Head and
comfort,
Shoulders daily
manageability,
for 20
and
years.
consistency
His
rather than
dermatologist
quick
suggested a
cosmetic drama.
2-week break to test
And that
sensitivity.
difference matters
The
because
dandruff
the best
disappeared
shampoo
completely.
usually does not
Gone.
try to
He
impress
said,
you in the
I
first
used
wash.
Head and Shoulders for 2
It
decades.
tries not to
My
create
scalp
a
was
problem
addicted
you
to
have
it.
to keep fixing
2 weeks
later.
after I stopped, my dandruff was gone
The second better
permanently.
option is
The shampoo
Alterna
was
Caviar
causing the problem it
Anti-Aging.
claimed to solve.
This
For
one sits in a
seniors
more
whose skin
premium lane,
naturally
but it earns
produces less
attention for
oil
a
with
different
age.
reason
Head and
than the
Shoulders
brands on the
sulfates
avoid
create
list.
chronic dryness
Instead of
and
leaning on
irritation that
mass
didn't
market
exist
familiarity
before.
or empty
For families
sensory
using this
seduction,
on children,
it
you're
gives off
teaching
the
their
impression
scalps
of
to
being
become
more
dependent on
deliberate,
medicated
more
shampoo
refined,
instead
and
of
more
developing natural
quality-focused.
balance. For
The
men
appeal
using it
here
daily
is
for
not just
decades,
luxury.
many develop
It
scalp
is the sense
conditions
that
that
the
require
formula is trying to
dermatological
support a
treatment.
better
60
long-term
years of trust. 60 years of manufacturer dependency. Have you been using Head & Shoulders for years? Check if your dandruff gets worse when you stop, creating the disease it claims to cure. But at least dependency is legal. The next brand hides illegal chemicals behind one word. Toxic preservatives hiding in trusted brands? Hit subscribe now so you never trust a label without knowing what's really inside. 3. Garnier Fructis.
The label says one thing, the long-term experience says something else. And once you start seeing that difference, you stop shopping on autopilot. You start reading labels more carefully. You start paying attention to how your scalp actually responds, and you start choosing products based on what they protect, not just what they promise. Because the right shampoo does more than clean your hair. It protects your routine from turning into a cycle of frustration. If this video changed the way you look at shampoo, subscribe, leave a comment, and watch the next video before your next trip to the store.